the recording. First things first, welcome. I'm super excited to see you guys again. I know last week there was a recording. Hopefully at this point, all of you guys have seen that and gotten caught up there. We were in Jamaica, which was an absolute blast, and we definitely need to bring the entire squad to wherever the summertime trip location is, which they're going to announce at the Summer Kickoff Conference on April 12th and 13th. I want to start off with a little bit of recognition. So Landon this past week got 5 orders on the board, sold over $1,000, and made over $300 in about 8 hours of work. So it was a really good reminder of how quickly, A, you can build momentum and get things moving in the right direction, and B, it was a good reminder of how much money you can really make when you just get a couple of orders. And I would imagine that Landon would tell you that he wasn't thrilled with his sales, that he would have liked to and expected to sell a lot more. But even still, just $1,000 alone can put $200, $250, $300 in your pocket. So very, very exciting there. Second thing, I want to recognize our Facebook Jumpstart leaders. We have Kayla, Charlie, and Landon, over 500 Facebook friends on their Facebook Jumpstart list right now. I believe, Kayla, correct me if I'm wrong, you're at 838, is that correct? 868. So very well done there. I do want all of you guys right now, please go on to fbjumpstart.org. Also, if there's background noise, mute your audio. If you have background noise, mute your audio, please. Thank you. But go on fbjumpstart.org and click on the button that says Submit Activity. And I did see that some of you guys, when I reached out over the weekend asking about your Facebook Jumpstart number, some of you guys responded to me, but did not upload your number onto the website, so it doesn't count. A couple of you didn't respond to me, which we need to work on. Let's get that in there. And then just a reminder, the assignment was to be at 500 friends by March 1st. We have a couple of you guys that went over and above that number. We do have a handful of people that came close but didn't quite make it. And there were 2 people that really have not really started their Facebook Jumpstart program yet. And just a reminder, we've been talking about this since the beginning, but this is something that you really can't make up. It's not something where you're able to get 500 friends in 1 week. You know, it does take time and it does take energy. It's not a huge time commitment. I think most people are doing it 3 to 4 days a week, 30 minutes at a time. I know in the GroupMe, Kayla has shared a couple times the automated friender, which, just a reminder, you can't rely on that alone, but it is a helpful tool. But I'm saying that because by May 1st, we need every single manager, whether you're an assistant manager, branch manager, district manager, every manager to have over 2,000 friends. By the way, the leaders right now are over 2,000 today. And that is a prerequisite to getting promoted for the summer. So if you're at 500 right now, or under 500, or over 500, the next checkpoint is to be at 1,000 by March 15th. So we got about 10 days. And I want to make sure that you guys are taking an appropriate level of action to be able to hit that target. Okay? I also want to let you guys know about 2 contests that are starting. For the people that are locally in the office, you guys have already been hearing about these for a little bit, but I wanted to make sure everyone knew about it. Starting today, we have the Who's the Boss contest. And many of you guys know all the district managers went down today, really yesterday, to the Cayman Islands for the national company trip. They're all partying out there. I opted out of going to that one because my wife is leaving for Malaysia for pretty much the entire month of March. So I didn't want to spend this week on vacation and then come home with her gone. So I opted out. But the reason for the Who's the Boss contest is specifically because so many managers are gone. And it's the assistant managers that are running the offices right now. You guys get to cheat because I'm still here helping. But this started today. So if you personally sell $500 for the week, you get entered into a drawing for a $100 gift card. And if you sell $1,000 for the week, you get 2 chances in the $100 gift card drawing, which is a cash bonus on top of your commission. So it'd be awesome to get several of you guys in there. And then for the office, every office that sets up 7+ PRs, not relying on conveyor, gets a $150 gift card to a team night out. 10 PRs gets us 2 chances, 15 PRs gets us 5 chances. And for a new business drawing, if we sell $3,000 in new business this week, we get another chance for a different $150 team night out gift card. $5,000 gets us 2 chances, and $8,000 gets us 3 chances. And I've been telling the local guys, if we win one of those or both of those, we could do some damage putting together some fun activities. That can include a pizza party, that can include paintball, that can include an escape room. We could do a bunch of fun stuff with $150 or $300. So any sales that you guys create count towards that. And then it also feeds into our seeding. So the March Madness contest officially begins 1 week from today, this coming Tuesday. And we're going to set up an NCAA style bracket where every office goes in and competes against each other. And a couple years ago, we were the #1 team. And I would like to be the #1 team again. So everything we do this week affects our seeding, and then starting next week affects the March Madness bracket. Just a reminder, this is specifically for our branch managers and district managers, but we're going to be closing leases for you guys over the coming weeks. We already have a lease in the works for Charlie Graney and Easton. We should be getting that one approved and finalized by the end of this week. Kayla, we're going to be getting your lease either by the close of business today or first thing tomorrow morning. Kevin, I'm in communication with the property manager for your space, so we should be getting that done hopefully in the next 48 hours. And then Becky is the only one that I'm still waiting on more leads for so that I can find an office space for you. But just a reminder for the branches and the districts, as soon as we have a lease, A, you need to sign it, and B, you need to send a check for the first month's rent and security deposit to the landlord, okay? Just a reminder that the landlord will continue to show your space until they have a check in their hand, right? So I've seen this before. In fact, when Kayla and I were office searching 2 weeks ago, they even had a spot where they already had 6 people who had made offers on it. They had leases in the works for 6 different people, and they were continuing to show it to us. And whoever gets the check in first is the one that gets the spot, right? Which means the other 5 people, we decided not to move on that one. But the other 5 people are going to get a phone call or a text saying, hey, we sold your spot to somebody else, so good luck finding a spot, right? So just a reminder, you don't want to sit on this. For those of you that already have a lease in process, I've released your startup to you already, and you got to get a check in the mail immediately. Second reminder related, but as soon as you send in the check and the landlord cashes it, that is when they will sign their copy, and they'll send us a copy that has your signature and their signature. That is, it's called an executed lease when it's got both signatures on it, meaning a contract has been approved by both parties. Once we send the executed lease up to Olean, that's when you get your first round of startup. Okay, so you get your first round of startup right after we receive the executed lease. So we want to get that stuff done right away. Yes, I say that because it ties in with some of you guys selling, not just for the Who's the Boss contest, not just for the March Madness contest, although those are great and valid reasons to sell some Cutcos, but also the reason we've been pushing so hard for startup. And for those of you that allowed yourselves to fall behind in the startup, right, we need to get some urgency to creating some sales, because we can't sit around and just wait for you to get some momentum going right before we close the lease. Like there's a high level of urgency for the branches and the districts to get things moving. That said, I already covered the Facebook thing. I unshared the screen because we won't need it anymore. All right, beautiful. I'm going to ask you guys, please grab your notebook, and I'm also going to ask you to pull up your Email. I sent all of you guys an email today, except for those of you who are physically in my office because you have the binders. That's a lie. For Landon and Nick, I did not send you the email because you have the binders. For the branches and the districts, I sent you an email with the slides for the PR talk. And for the assistant managers not in the office, I sent you the script for the day 2 PC. And I'm really excited to get into training with you guys. This is a really fun area that is fun to do in the business, and it plays a big impact on our sales for the summertime. Okay, so first off, for the branches and the district managers, you guys are going to learn and execute the entire training seminar. Most of you have already shadowed at least one training seminar. Some of you guys have shadowed 2 or 3. And I know for those of you in the office, many of you guys are actively working to come in and shadow and participate in training. I know some of you guys who are away at school have been watching videos on Vector Connect and recordings of the training, and it's time to really get into it. So there's a couple of key messages in the training, and Kate calls them the big 6, right? It's like training is 10 to 12 hours long in total, but there's a couple of key talks that you need to be able to completely execute. And I've said this to some of you guys, but in the traditional 3-day, 20+ hour training, it's the big 6. In my opinion, with our 2-day, 10-hour training, it's the big 4. Do any of you guys remember what the big 4 are? This is specifically for the branches and districts.
PR talk,
Yeah.
intro talk,
Dropping down.
creating demos. So the phone thing, yeah, that. Can't think of that, sorry. Kevin said something.
What did you say?
Dropping down. Names list.
That's it.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I would say the intro talk is not one of the big 6. It is in the 20+ hour training, but it's not in hours. I would say the big 4 are your names list talk and your schedule and phone. It's one message, schedule and phone on day 1. And on day 2, it's the PR talk and dropping down. Those are the 4 areas that if you succeed in those, your reps will sell. And if you don't succeed in those, it'll hamstring them, right? So here's what I want to do is I want to have Kayla and Kevin. I'm going to have you guys go back in the office back here. Kayla, do you have your own Zoom account? You do, right? Okay, I'm gonna ask you, please, if you can give Charlie and Becky your Zoom account, please. And Charlie and Becky, I'm gonna ask you guys to please get the number from Kayla and then log on with her. And I'm gonna have you guys go in the back and I want you to role play the names list talk. And I want you to role play the PR talk. So if I can have you guys separate.
Yeah, just let me know the number and I'll write it down.
And then for the assistant managers, hang tight for a moment, and we're gonna switch gears and work on our thing together. By the way, one quick thing is we're waiting for Kayla to get set up. As far as a one-on-one call for each of you guys this week, I would like to be able to do that with each of you guys. What I'm gonna ask, if you haven't set one up with me yet, text me 2 to 3 times that would work for you. And I'll pick one. Okay, for a couple of you guys, I've tried offering times that didn't work out. My schedule's a little bit hectic this week because it's my last week with Carissa, and I'm doing office searching and running my office. So this week's a little hectic. But what I'd like to do is have you text me 2 to 3 times that would work for you, and I'll be able to adjust and coordinate my schedule to be able to get that time with you. Beautiful. So for the assistant managers, let's talk about your role during the training. Generally speaking, assistant managers do not run a training seminar, with the exception of someone who's like a sales manager or a pilot sales manager or a district office manager. They would occasionally run the training. But generally speaking, the assistant manager's role is to support the training and help impact the results of the training class. So first thing we should talk about is, what is the measure of a successful training class? What is the objective? If we get 10 people in training, what are the metrics that would determine if training was a success or not?
Good amount of PRs collected, good first weekend, or productive first weekend.
So PRs collected, yes. What is the target number of PRs collected?
150.
It's 150. Very good. Now, in terms of a productive first weekend, what does that look like?
I know your PPR is what, like 2,000? So like every rep sells, I guess 2,000. I guess a good number of demos set for the weekend. I think you do what, 5 per person? So if, for example, you have 10 people in training, 50 demos created in the first phone jam would be a symptom of a productive weekend, and then them executing them to at least be able to sell, you know, on average 2,000 per rep.
You're on the right track. Okay, so first off, what percentage of people should launch from training?
Was it like 7?
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it should be 70% launch. Proud to say that in January, I had 100% launch for three out of the 4 seminars, which was really exciting. That's not normal though. 70% is the standard number. So 70% launch, and there's a couple things assistant managers can do that impact the launch percentage. Now, in terms of demos first weekend, you are right, Nick, that we want to schedule an average of 5 per rep in the day 1 phone jam, but we also want them to book demos at home on on first night, and then we also have them book demos in the office on day 2. So do any of you guys know the number that our average rep should launch with by the time they launch?
I think I'm just yeah, I think it's, so they go home. I think the assignment is 5 more, and then I'm going to take another rough estimate and say that it's 5 more day 2, so 15.
Good guess. It's 10 per rep. Okay, so 10 appointments per rep. And that's when you average it all together. So typically you're going to have a couple of people that got less than 10. You're going to have your top people get more than 10. But if we launch 10 people, we should have 100 appointments lined up for the first 72 hours. All right, so if they launch on a Friday, by the end of Monday, we should have 10 appointments per rep. By the way, the number one thing that determines how much a rep sells is simply how many appointments they have, right? It's not their closing percentage, not when they're brand new, right? When they get experience, sure. But when they're brand new, it's just a numbers game. You guys tracking with me? So this January, some of you guys were in the training class where the average rep launched with 15 appointments, right? And unsurprisingly, that was our biggest sales week, biggest sales weekend, our biggest productivity, because we had a 50% increase in demos and we had a corresponding 50% increase in sales. Does that make sense? All right, so 10 per rep is what we're looking for. And then 150 PRs per rep. So if we have 10 people launch, we should collect 1,500 personal recruit names. You guys tracking with me on this? Beautiful. So there's a couple of activities that the assistant managers do during training that impact those key results in the training seminar. And I'm going to ask you guys to take a couple of notes here, and we're going to practice one of the skills. But the 2 things that impact the launch percentage. Number 1 is simply the greeting in training, the way that we welcome them into the office. Keeping in mind that in the interview, the demeanor is very much, hey, I want you to feel comfortable, but you're here to impress me. The training, you should be the same person, right? It's not like when they come in for the interview, you're like, hey, welcome. Did you find the place okay? And then they come in for day 1 of training. You're like, hey, welcome, right? If you're a different person, there's a disconnect, right? So you want to be the same person, but it's warmer. There's a bigger smile. There's a, hey, welcome. How are you? Right? You spend some time chit-chatting and building rapport with them. And you want to make people feel comfortable. So one of the first things is, as an assistant manager, if you're in the office during the training, as people are coming in, don't wait. You want to automatically be walking up to people, having a conversation with them. Right now, our trainings are relatively small. So we typically have one person talk to them and then another person goes up and talks to them. But in the summer, it is not unheard of in a district office to have 30, 40, 50 people in training, right? And what we'll do is we'll have all of the assistant managers who are in the office walking around like bees, talking to people, right? Building rapport, connecting. And there's a couple of key things you want to talk to people about. You know, part of it is just the small talk of how'd you hear about the job? How are you doing? Where do you go to school? What are you studying? A couple of the key impactful questions, though, are what are you most looking forward to with the job? Right? What do you want to get out of it? I like to find out what people's hot buttons are. Meaning, are you here because you're money motivated and trying to get a big paycheck? Are you here because you're trying to buy a car, move out of your parents' house, pay for your college tuition? For some people, it's not about the money at all. There's some who are like, I really want the resume experience. You know, for some, it's the flexibility to be able to work around classes or other jobs or sports or whatever the case may be. But you can ask people, like, what's most important to you? Like, what do you need to get out of this to make it a good experience? Right? One of the other things you can do is find out what they want to do. Meaning, like, what are you studying? What do you want to do with that? And then helping them make the connection of how working with us ties in. And I remember vividly as an example, when Landon came in for training, he was telling me that he's playing football. He wants to go to the NFL. So I was able to connect with him and talk a little bit about rugby, right? And then I was asking what he wants to do for a career. And he was telling me that he wants to go in the NFL, do that for as long as it lasts, and then switch into business. And he was telling me how his dad sells luxury real estate and how being an entrepreneur and a business owner after the NFL is what he wanted to do. And I remember having a conversation about, hey, doing this now is going to get you some of the skills and the training and a leg up for that. And he was like, yeah, I know. Right? That's my Landon impression. It's as good as it gets. I'm working on it. It'll get better. Yeah. Anyway, but I was able to be like, all right, I know what you want to do. Let's talk about how this connects. And the key is that you're making them feel comfortable, you're making them feel welcome, and that they can kind of see a path of how to get where they want to go, using Vector as the vehicle. Does that make sense? All right, so that all goes in with the greeting. The second area on day one where assistant managers impact the launch percentage is during role plays. Okay, one common mistake I see is that when there's a role play, managers take a break. They're like, oh, they're just role playing, so I'm going to go in the back and chill out. You know, I understand why that would be a temptation, but the role plays are actually a working opportunity for the assistant managers to go around and just listen to people, right? What I like to do is I just listen and I give them compliments, right? Unless they're doing something dramatically wrong, like not reading the manual or they have their book upside down or something. Unless they're doing something dramatically wrong, you only want to give encouragement, no tips. No tips, right? I remember for me, I don't know how bad I was when I was role playing and training, but it must have been really bad. Must have been, because one of the things our manager had told us was to point at the blue book with our pencil. That was a thing that he told us. By the way, we wasted hours in training talking about pointing with a pencil. That's why their training takes 20 hours. But I remember vividly, I was role playing with my partner, we were practicing, and Kate Vassy, the assistant manager at that time, came over and kneeled down, and she goes, hey, you look really professional pointing with your pencil. And I still remember to this day, it made me feel really good. I was like, that's awesome. He told me to do it. I'm doing it. It looks good and professional. That's awesome. In hindsight, I'm like, man, if that was all she had to compliment, right? But that's what you want to do. By the way, again, that was 14 years ago, and I still remember to this day how it made me feel when I got a compliment from the manager for doing something the district manager had told me to do. Does that make sense? So you want to build their confidence, and their confidence is the key to getting them to show up on day 2. The last thing is what we call day 1 PDI. Day 1 PDI. And for those of you who are assistant managers today, this is not something that we do year-round. I only do it during peak season, which is January and the summertime. But many of you guys might remember when you left your first day of training, excuse me, you went home with the assignment to get more numbers on your list and to book more appointments, right? What we do is we wait about 45 to 60 minutes after they've left training, and then we have the assistant managers give a call to everybody, and we're just asking them, how many numbers have you added? How many appointments have you booked? And we're encouraging them to take more action, right? The number one reason people don't hit the assignments is they go home and they do nothing. So that call 30 to 45 minutes or 45 to 60 minutes after they leave training, excuse me, to follow up with them and make sure that they are taking action plays a big role in how many demos they're going to book. Does that make sense? By the way, another fun thing to do is create competition. So when you find someone who's already got 10, 12, 15 appointments, telling everybody else about that and creating some competition with the leaders gets people moving forward. So all of that ties in to creating the launch percentage. Does this make sense? No or yes?
Yes.
Beautiful. To create the 10 appointments per rep, I'm going to come back to that because that's going to be our role play. For the PRs, the PR talk, in my opinion, is the single most important part of the entire training. Just like getting referrals in some cases is more important than making a sale when you do a demo. So generally speaking, I only have the lead manager in the office do the PR talk. The assistant managers come in to support, though, in 2 ways. One is when you get introduced to the team, if you are a PR, meaning if you came recommended to the company by a friend, when you give your introduction, make sure to share that. Right? Even as simple as, yep, I got a text message when one of my friends got the job. I wasn't expecting it, blah, blah, blah. But just mentioning that you're a PR plants the seed for PRs. And then during the PR message, what the assistant managers do is they walk around and make sure people are using the app and making sure that they're not just skimming through all of their friends or unchecking all of their friends. You guys have been there when you're with a customer and you're asking for referrals and they're like scrolling through their contact list. They're like, yeah, I don't know anybody, right? And you know they're scrolling past hundreds of people that eat food and cut it into smaller pieces before they eat it, right? And you're like, no, stop, right? The same thing happens when we do PR. Sometimes people will go through their contact list and they're like unselecting, like, oh, she wouldn't want it, she wouldn't want it, he wouldn't, right? And they're unselecting people. And as an assistant manager, to be able to see that and go in and have a conversation with someone makes a big difference. And then the other thing is when they're finished, what I like to do when I have an assistant manager in the office is I'll say, hey, show it to the assistant manager before you hit the next button. And if you can kind of visualize, I don't have this up to show you right now, but on their phone, it tells them you've recommended this number of people and this percentage of your friends. Tracking with me? Do you guys know what percentage of people they should recommend, by the way?
It's like over 70.
It should be roughly 70 to 80%, right? Now, obviously, that's not a hard and fast rule. Some people share contacts with their family. Every now and then you've had people where they like just got a new phone and they don't have all their contacts and it's kind of like, nothing we can really do about that. But generally speaking, it should be between 70 and 80%. But I've had it before where someone goes through and they've only recommended 40% of their contacts. And to my mind, they're being too selective. They're not giving enough people the opportunity to say yes or no. And I would just lean in and say, hey, what we're looking for is like 70 to 80%. Can you go back and just make sure you're not screening people out because you're assuming they're not interested, right?
Mhm.
But little things that you guys can do during the talk that move that number forward. The big one that I want to talk about today, oh, the last one. Yeah, sorry. The big topic I want to talk about is creating 10 demos per rep. And there's two areas that play a big impact on the demo creation. One is during the phone jams. Okay, so the last thing we do on the first day of training is a phone jam. And one of the first things we do on the second day of training is a phone jam. And here's what a phone jam should look like. They should be really high energy, right? It shouldn't be everybody sitting down and being very quiet and in private rooms. Like phone jams should be like a boiler room, right? Like if you walk into a telemarketing agency and everybody's on the phone and you get a call from a call center and you can hear phones ringing in the background, like that's what you should feel like. You know, they should be high energy and loud and upbeat. And the reason is motion creates emotion. Motion creates emotion. So when everybody is still and everybody is quiet, I guarantee you that people aren't making enough phone calls and not booking enough appointments, right? When it's loud and rowdy, can it be a little inconvenient? 100%, but it gets more accomplished. So that's the goal that we want, right? So during the phone jam in training, the assistant managers should be moving 100% of the time. They should never be standing still, waiting for someone to come up and say they booked a demo. What I like to do, my best phone jam assistants I ever had were Bryce Zemer and Hunter Halverson. And what they would do is my office has 3 rooms, goes in a big loop, right? And by the way, we'll do this summer. In the summertime when it's really big, I don't have assistant managers make phone calls in the phone jam. They have a separate manager phone jam. During the rep phone jam, what I would do is I would have one of them walking counterclockwise through the room, just constantly going counterclockwise. Bless you. And then the other one would be going clockwise, right? So I can't do it, but they were like a mixing bowl walking through everybody. And what they're doing is a combination of being the hype man or the hype woman, where they're getting people pumped, like, come on, right? Getting people going. They're looking for people that are like scrolling through their phone list or flipping pages in their book and not calling. And they're getting in there like, come on, who you got next? Let's make a call. Get on the phone, dial, right? If you need to, take their phone away from them, dial the number, and then hand it back to them when it's ringing. We've done that once or twice, right? Lana used to hate it when I did that, but it got him to make more calls. Oh, yeah. But you want to be the hype man getting people going. You want to give a high five when they get an appointment, but as soon as you get a high five, it's like, great, call the next one, not, hey, high five, and then think about it for the next 10 minutes, right? But the hype man, getting people to take action and massive amounts of action is big. The second thing is occasionally leaning down and listening to someone make a call. Right? Actually listening to them, making sure they're following the script. Occasionally you'll listen to them and they start going off the script and you're sitting there like, it's right there. Just say this, right? Or you hear them get a question and they start winging it. And you're like, no, it's right there. All right. But making sure they get the script and you're helping coach them on the phone is big. And I'll teach you guys some more advanced stuff you can do during phone jams at a later time. But making sure that we're driving the activity and helping them get the programs tight increases the number of demos. You guys tracking with me? Let me pause there because I'm going to talk about one last skill that's big and then we're going to role play. So before I get into that, any questions on any of the things that we've covered so far? Take that as a no. So here's the final thing I want to look at is the day 2 PC. Okay, so if you're on the recording, if you're on Zoom, if you can pull up your email, I sent you a copy of it for the managers here. I have a copy in the binder. Actually, Nick, do me a favor, run back and grab the other binder that's in the assistant manager office. it's under the day 2 PC tab. And in the binder, it says day 2/3 PC.
Is it a Bowas?
No, the tab actually says day 2 PC.
There.
By the way, for those of you on Zoom, we have a binder that has every single program
Down this
and system in it. When you come home and you're an assistant manager here, you'll have access to this. But it's a binder where every single thing we're talking about, including the interview, right now the day 2 PC, and every other system we cover in Leadership Academy will be in there.
Yeah, it is.
Yeah, it's a Bowas.
Yeah, I think Bowas for these models.
Note to self.
That was right there.
Yes.
Yeah, I got it. Yeah.
Cool. So when I wrote this script, one thing I want you to understand is that the script can be a little bit wonky or clunky at times. And it's because I had to write it with a couple of different scenarios in mind. Okay. You're going to have reps that come in for the last day of training with all kinds of different scenarios. Sometimes they'll come in and they've hit all of the assignments that you gave, and you need to just check their demos and make sure they're qualified, right? I've had it before though, where I've had a rep that booked all of the assignments that I gave. In some cases, they really did a nice job and they booked 12, 15, 16, 18 appointments. But as I go through their schedule, I remember vividly, by the way, the key is that their demos have to be with 3Ms. And I want their first appointments to be with people they feel very confident making a sale with. I don't want people launching and doing a couple throwaway demos because it kills their confidence. If their first appointments aren't a sale, it doesn't even matter if they knew it was going to be a no sale and it was just for practice. They get a no sale, their confidence takes a hit. All right, I want them going out and their first couple of appointments are a definite sale, even if it's just a veggie peeler, right? And I've had it before. I remember vividly, there was this one kid, Evan, really sharp kid. He was a PR of a rep that sold $6,000 in his first weekend, really good PR. And yet he booked 12 appointments and his first 3 were all for single dudes under the age of 30 that he knew weren't going to buy. Right. And in his mind, he was like, well, I just want to practice the demo and get the demo good, and then I'll do my good ones. Right. And while I understand why he wanted to do that, I didn't let him. I forced him to reschedule all those appointments. We moved some of his best people that he had booked for the second day to be right after training. And he ended up selling $1,500 on his first day and sold $6,000 in his first weekend, just like the guy who referred him. Right. But if I had let him have 3 consecutive no sales on his first day, even if he knew they were quote unquote for practice, it would have killed his confidence and he would have sold less. Does that make sense? Right. So you got to look at who they're seeing and making sure their schedule is set up right. In some cases, you have reps who don't hit the assignments, right? One thing we've been dealing with recently is that they do come in and they have the appointments booked that I told them, but they didn't add any new numbers to their list. And then it's like pulling teeth to get them to book more demos over the next several days, right? So if you notice that a rep hit the appointments but doesn't have the names list, we got to talk about that. We got to address it, right? And then if you have them changing their appointments, you need to have them take immediate action. Like I will literally have people, hey, go out in the back, make the calls to reschedule these appointments, and then show me your updated schedule when you've made the adjustments. Does that make sense? So that's what we're trying to accomplish is I wrote the script in a way that it could be versatile. But what you're really trying to accomplish is that you're looking at their schedule, making sure they hit the assignments. If they didn't hit the assignment, there's an accountability conversation that's happening. And then if they did hit the assignment, making sure their demos are with the right people, specifically meaning that they're all married, middle-aged, and middle income or higher, and that their first couple of appointments are people they feel confident with. Does that make sense before I get into the actual script itself, like what we're trying to get done?
Yeah.
Cool. So if you look at the script, right, it starts off if they didn't hit the assignment, meaning they have fewer than the number of appointments or fewer than the number of numbers on their list. Say, hey, Landon, according to the sign-in sheet, it says that you only have 15 or excuse me, you only have 5 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oof. Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was? All right. The assignment that I give is typically 6 at a minimum, and I recommend 10. All right. So you remember that the assignment was 6. You've got 5. Do you remember John saying, if you think you're going to have trouble hitting the assignment, make sure to see me before you go? Yeah. So what happened?
Just went on go lazy.
Right. And they'll always give an excuse like, oh, I had to like help my mom. Okay. Well, hey, I understand that things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect, right? I expect that if you're going to have trouble with an assignment, that you talk to one of us beforehand. And if you didn't talk to one of us beforehand, that you be responsible, that you be professional, and that you get it done, right? Or if you're working on something and you hit a roadblock, that you call the manager hotline and ask for help. All right, that's what I expect of you. I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit and they're designed to make you money, right? If you don't have numbers on your list, who are you going to call and book appointments with? All right, that's the answer. So again, I really want to see you do well here. So here's what I want you to do. And then you're going to give them an action list, right? If you're looking at the script, there's a ... You have to prescribe something based on the conversation that you've had. Does this make sense? Right, like a doctor, you're going to analyze the symptoms and you're going to give a prescription. All right, so let's look over the appointments that you do have. And then after that, I want you to phone like crazy to book the rest of your openings and surpass the assignment. Okay, so that's if they didn't hit it. Then for all reps, hey, great job hitting the assignment or beating the assignment, whatever it is. If they come in with 15 appointments, great job. I just want to go through your schedule and appointments with you. So first off, do you have anything going on this weekend other than Cutco stuff? And you want to know if they go to church, if they have another job, if they have school, you want to know about that stuff and make a note in WebPDI. And then they're blocking it off in their schedule. All right, so now let's take a look at your appointments. Are any of these, first off, if you have a top rep, right, so basically any of you guys, I would just say, hey, are any of these not 3M? Are any of these not married? And they'll tell you, right, your top people will typically be honest and be like, yeah, well, this one is not, but I think she's going to buy. That's what a lot of them do, right? Or that guy I told you about, he's like, yeah, my first 3 aren't, but I want to practice with them and then I'll show my good children. But typically for the top, people ask them, hey, is anybody on here not married, expecting that they'll give me an honest answer. For my middle and lower reps, I don't assume that they're automatically booking everybody that I've told them. So I'll say, hey, I want you to go through here and put a check mark next to everybody who's married. Right? Go through, put a check mark next to everybody who's over 30. Put a check mark next to everybody who owns a home. And I'm looking to see if everybody has 3 check marks or not. Right? Next, I want you to put a star next to your best 5, the ones that you would bet money they'd buy something. And I want to look and make sure they've got, first off, all 5, I told them and they wanted to book their best 5 for their first weekend, so I want to make sure they did. And I also want to make sure their best 5 are early, that they're not waiting until Monday and Tuesday to see their best 5. When I see that they, excuse me, when I notice that they didn't put that their first appointment is a star person, I'm like, cool, why'd you want to see that person first? Right? What I'm listening for, sometimes they'll tell you like, oh, my best 5 couldn't see me then, but I got another really good person there. Great. Sometimes they're like, I've already said this example a couple of times, but it happens a lot where they're like, oh, well, I wanted my first appointment for practice and then I'll see my good people. And if you get that, you need them to cancel that appointment, right? And then any people that you're nervous about, why did you choose to see that person this weekend? And one thing that you want to make a note of, you can't be afraid to make reps cancel appointments. Okay, that is important. You can't be afraid to make reps cancel appointments. They will try to justify all the time, right? All the time. Like, oh, well, they're not married or middle-aged, but I know they're going to buy, right? Or, oh, I just want to practice. They will do that stuff all the time. And as the manager, you have more experience than them. You know what works and what does not work. And it's your responsibility to make sure they're set up for success. Does this make sense? Like you can't, I think in training, I think Landon, I made you cancel a couple appointments. No, one of the assistant managers did. Yeah, right. John Tevis made Landon cancel a couple appointments with people that were single dudes, and Landon got pissed, right? And I remember vividly, like I went in and I was like, dude, he's looking out for you. Like I had to like talk him off the ledge, but Landon was pissed about it. That's okay. I'd rather have Landon upset. I'd rather have Landon have canceled 2 appointments and have his appointments be with his best people. That is better than letting a rep go out and have a bunch of no sales and kill their confidence. And then for every customer, I go through like, all right, do you think this person's going to get something small, medium, or big? Small, medium, big, small, medium, big. And what you're doing there is creating the expectation, excuse me, of making sales so they can visualize it. Okay, and then I kind of walk through with them. And some of you guys have seen me do this, but I'm like, cool. Hey, just so you know, if you get this person to buy $1,000, you get one $500 order, a couple of average orders. Let's say one person just buys something little, you know, you're going to end up with $3,000 in sales. You're going to get 2 promotions and make $400 in a weekend. So all you have to do now is execute, right? Or kind of paint the vision for, I want you to book an extra 3 appointments. You got a couple holes in your schedule or a couple dollar signs that aren't filled. I want you to book those appointments now. Can you make a couple calls now to get those lined up? But what you're doing is making sure their schedule is maximized and that their schedule set up so that when they launch, they go into success. Does this make sense what we're trying to do?
Yeah.
And then I also scripted out the conversation for rescheduling a demo. So here's what I'd like you guys to do. Kayla, I just saw your chat, sorry. I had sent you an email with it, so it's in your email. I sent it to the Kayla Wayla one. Here's what I'd like you guys to do is I'm gonna have you role play with each other. And Landon, I'm gonna have you start. And you're gonna do this with Kayla. So Kayla, if you can unmute and be a rep with Landon. Here's the scenario. Kayla's in for training. She hit her assignments. So she's got over 20 names and numbers on her list, and she's got over 6 appointments booked.
Yep.
They're all 3M, but she's not confident in her first 2 people buying. Well, married, middle-aged, but she's not confident that her first 2 will buy, and she booked her star people for the second day. Okay, so Kayla, that is your scenario, and Landon, I want you to initiate the conversation.
Cool. Awesome. So, hey, Kayla, great job at hitting the assignment last night. I just want to go through your schedule and appointments with you. First off, do you have anything going on this weekend other than Cutco stuff?
Nope.
Okay, wonderful. So now let's just take a look at your appointments. Are any of these 3Ms? Are all the people you have 3Ms?
Yeah, the ones on my second day are.
But the first thing aren't 3Ms?
Sorry, it's a little bit hard to hear you.
You gotta talk loud.
I thought the scenario was the stars, but everyone's 3Ms.
That's okay. What's wrong with it?
Okay.
But do talk loud. She can't hear you super well.
Okay. Can you hear me better? Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Cool. Thanks, John. Okay, so the next thing I want you to do is I want you to put a star next to your best 5 people. Now these are the ones who you would bet that they'd buy something. I mean,
Yep. Got it.
cool. So it looks like you have your best 5 people. You're seeing them the second day, not the first day. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay, so the one thing that I would say about this is that I want you to see your best 5 people first on your first day. And it's just to help you out so you can have some good sales and get some good confidence for the weekend. So if you could you text all the people that you have on the first day and and reschedule them and try to get the best 5 people first, please?
Okay. I kind of want to keep the people from the first day as a practice for the second day.
If I may, I'd be even more specific. So instead of saying, hey, could you? But I say, hey, I need you to cancel. I need you to cancel these 2 appointments. Cancel.
Yeah.
And I want you to move someone from Saturday into that slot. Your first appointments aren't for practice. Your first appointments are for confidence.
Okay. Okay. Yeah. Cool. So either way, I need you to cancel those appointments and reschedule them, and then get your top 2 people on the first day for me, please. Just to help you out. This will help you for the whole week.
Okay, I will do that.
Cool. Thank you so much. Okay.
For the email I got, I only have the welcome to day 2 of Cutco training. I don't think I have the script. I'm looking at my email now.
I'll resend it.
Okay.
Landon, keep going. So continue the conversation while I send this.
Okay. And why did you choose to see these people this weekend?
If you can imagine, you're looking at her list. Like, all right, you've got Miss Sally. Why'd you pick her first weekend?
Okay. Yeah, Miss Sally, why'd you pick her this weekend?
She works at our church and she likes to do a lot of cooking, a lot of baking. So I know she'll probably want something.
Cool. Awesome. And then just keep doing it. Okay. And then the next.
Like 2 or 3 of them.
Okay. And then Mr. John, why'd you pick that person?
Mr. John, he has a catering business, and I know he does a lot of cooking as well, him and his wife.
Cool. Sounds like a good one. And then Mr. Nick, why did you pick that one for the opponent?
Mr. Nick is actually my track coach, and I know he'll probably want to help support and get some practice and help me get some practice in.
Actually, that brings up a good point. Thank you for asking that question. Whenever you notice that the rep has booked an appointment with a husband, right? So if they wrote on their list, I'm seeing Mr. John, I'm seeing Mr. Nick, I ask, is the wife going to be there?
Okay.
Right? Is his wife going to be there?
Okay.
Sometimes if I'm suspicious that they're not married, I'll say, hey, what's his wife's name? Right? And they're like, oh, he's not married. Right? I don't care if he owns a catering business and drives a Tesla and loves to cook. It doesn't matter. If he's a single dude, I'm going to cancel that appointment. I'm not going to say you can never show him, but not in your first weekend.
Cool. So is the wife gonna be there for Mr. John?
I think
and
that
Mr.
was the
Nick?
exact conversation that we had, isn't it?
Yes, we did.
No, I don't think she will be.
Okay, so what's my order, John? Should I have her canceled?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Cool. So the only thing is I want you to cancel that appointment then and reschedule for a later date, or you don't have to reschedule now, but try to reschedule for a later date, but make sure the wife is there. We don't want you to see just the husband. We want you to see both of them at the same time.
Don't be so wimpy.
Okay.
So I need you to call him right now, and I need you to cancel that appointment. You can reschedule it for a time that his wife is going to be there too.
Okay.
Right? You see how it's
Yeah.
yeah. I'm not leaving. I don't know if you noticed or not, but the first time you did this and told her to cancel one, she was like, "Well, but I don't leave any room for that."
Yeah. So I need you. Okay. Cool.
I have a quick question. I've had moments where I'm trying to book an appointment, and I'll typically be having an appointment with a wife, and I'll ask like, "Hey, is there a Mr. Jones, and will he be able to attend the appointment with us?" And usually she's like, "Oh, no, I'll just do it. He's working." Or I've even had moments where I'm on an appointment with the wife, and the husband like walks by the camera, and I'm like, "Oh, did you want to join us today?" And they're like, "No, I'll just do it." So is there something I could say, or like, I don't know, to kind of?
There is. Let me come back to that after this because it's separate, but I will be happy to answer that for you.
Okay.
Okay, got it.
Stars.
Yeah, keep going.
Okay, so wonderful. So what do you think Miss Sally will get? Do you think she'll get a small, medium, big set?
I think she'll probably do something small.
And then try to move on. Like try to like convince her to make it into medium and big. I don't really know. Try to move on.
Yeah, good question. You don't need every answer to be big or medium.
Yeah.
You want every answer to be more than nothing,
Okay.
right? If they're like, oh, I don't think they're going to buy anything. Ooh,
Okay.
If they do say they don't think they're gonna buy anything, do you want us to tell them to reschedule that one?
yes, correct.
Okay.
That's not the best.
Is this before or after they know the prices of everything?
Before.
Okay.
Yes, the beginning of it. Okay, cool. And then what do you think Mr. John and his wife will do?
I think they'll buy something. Medium. I think I can see them getting a set.
Awesome. Cool. And then what do you think Mr. Nick and his wife will get?
I'm not. You said Mr. I think Mr. Nick was the coach.
Yeah, he was the coach.
Yes,
I'm not sure if he's gonna get anything or not.
Okay, so
we already canceled his appointment because his wife isn't going to be there.
I need you to cancel it again. Okay, cool. Okay, so now insert rescheduling demo conversation. Or I thought I already did that.
We already did.
Yeah.
So what I would wrap up with is, all right, her action item is to cancel the appointment with Mr. Nick.
Mhm.
And what else does she have to do? If she cancels one,
Oh, you gotta reschedule.
she's got to book another one to fill that slot.
Yeah. Okay. Cool. So
So then you just send her off into action to go do that.
okay. So right now I need you to go and call up Mr. Nick, cancel that appointment, and then make some more calls after that to get that appointment slot booked up. Please.
Okay. Quick question. Do you want them to cancel it or reschedule it and still put something else in that initial slot?
It's a good question.
Or-
If the customer is not a qualified customer, then cancel completely, right? If it's, oh, I booked it with Mr. Nick, but his wife isn't going to be there, they can reschedule it, but it has to be for a time that the wife will be there too.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
And then either way, I want them to book a qualified customer for that slot.
Okay.
Cool. Miss Kayla, did you get the email?
Yep. Yes, I did.
Cool. Let me have you do this back for Mr. Landon. Not Mr. Landon. He's a rep, you're a manager, so Landon. And in this scenario, Landon did not hit the assignments. Okay, so he's got 4 appointments booked. The assignment was 6. All 4 are 3M. He just didn't book any more after he went home last night.
Yeah, I was lazy. Sorry.
Okay.
Not tough.
Hey, Landon. So according to your schedule, you only have 4 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Strong start.
You,
Out of the gate swinging.
do you remember what the assignment was?
No, I don't. Well, if I didn't do it, I don't remember.
And do you remember us saying we want to book about 6 appointments? If you think you have any trouble hitting the assignment, just make sure you see me before you go.
Yeah, I think I remember that.
So what happened?
I went home, sat down, and got lazy, and didn't want to do it anymore because it was a full day of training, and I was tired.
Okay. Now I understand that things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect. Usually, if you got 4 assignments, you only need 2 more. So go ahead and try to knock those out really quickly, and you can end your night there. I would expect you to call me and ask me for advice to just let me know. I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit to design and designed to help you make money. And again, I really want to see you do well here. So here's what I want you to do. Let's look over the appointments that you have, and then after that, I want you to book. Then after that, I want you to phone like crazy to book the rest of your openings and surpass the assignment.
Okay.
Cool. Let me pause you there. Can I give you a tip, Kayla?
Yes.
So I'm going to teach you how to be a parent. I want you to use your voice to express displeasure. Okay, so watch the difference.
Don't scare me.
All right, so hey, Landon, according to the sign-in sheet on your schedule, you only have 4 appointments. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was?
I think it was 6.
Yep. And do you remember Mr. John saying that if you have any trouble hitting the assignment, make sure to see me before you go?
Yeah, I do now.
Okay. So what happened?
I got lazy.
Okay. Well, I understand things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect. Watch the difference now. Ready? All right. So Landon, according to the sign-in sheet, you only have 4 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oof. Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was?
Yeah, I think it was 6 appointments, right?
It is. And do you remember John saying if you think you're going to have any trouble hitting the assignment, make sure to see me before you go?
Yes.
And what happened?
Went home and got lazy.
Do you feel the difference?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
But I'm using my tone to convey like that I'm not happy.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, let me have you do that first part again. The key, by the way, is it's real simple. Just sometimes going oof, eesh, right, is enough. Or even just your tone instead of like, all right, so what happened? So what happened?
Okay. Hey, Landon, according to your schedule, you only have 4 appointments booked. Is that correct?
Yes, it is.
Okay, do you remember what the assignment was?
I think it was 6 appointments, right?
And do you remember Mr. Godwin saying, if you think you have any trouble hitting the assignment, make sure you see me before you go?
Yes, I did.
So what happened?
Love it. Yes.
I wanted to watch TV when I got home.
Okay. I understand things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect. Usually, if you just have the four appointments and you only had 2 more to book, I'm pretty sure you can knock those out. I would expect that you call me and ask for advice and let me know. I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit and designed to help you make money. And again, I really want to see you do well here. So here's what I want you to do. Let's look over the appointments that you have. And
So what you're going to do at that point, that was really strong, is now you're going to switch gears and you're going to give a prescription based on the issue, right? So in this scenario, he only booked 4 appointments. The goal was, or the target was to get to 6. So now it's like, all right, so here's what we're going to do. We're going to look at the appointments you have right now. When we're done here, I need you to make calls right now to get a minimum of 6.
Okay.
So it's based on the issue, but you're gonna basically be a doctor, and based on what the problem is, you're gonna give a prescription. Does that make sense?
Right.
It's also
Yes.
why I didn't script it, because it is gonna depend on the rep and their scenario. Yeah.
Are we gonna finish up or?
Yeah. Keep going.
Oh, I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit and designed to help you make money. My mind just completely went blank. What did we say again? I'm sorry. You had 4 out of the 6 assignments and 4 out of the 6 appointments, and
Correct.
I got 4 booked. And then you're at the part where it's okay. Now I understand that things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect, and then you give expectations.
I'm starting. I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit and designed to help you make money. Sorry.
That's okay. Sorry, practice.
Can you say what you said again about reaching the 6 appointments or reaching the assignment?
Yeah. So I'll do this with you, Kayla. So Kayla, according to the sign-in sheet, you only have 4 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Oof. Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was?
I think we were supposed to book 6 appointments.
Yeah. And do you remember Mr. Godwin saying that if you have any trouble hitting the assignment, to make sure you see me before you go?
Yes, I do.
Okay. So what happened?
Once I got home, I was just really tired and I had a little bit of homework to do.
Oof. So you just went home, did homework, and then called it a night?
Yeah.
Yeesh. Okay. Well, hey, I understand that things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect. When we give you an assignment, I expect you to follow through and get it done like a professional. You know, just like you have homework for classes, this was homework for your brand new job that you just got. Now, I want you to realize that the assignments are for your benefit, and they're designed to help you make money. You know, if you don't get the assignment, you're not going to do enough appointments to get the paycheck that you need to be able to pay your rent for this month. So again, I really want to see you do well here. So here's what I want you to do. We're going to finish up here. We're going to look over your appointments that you have. As soon as we're done here, though, I need you to make some phone calls right now to book a minimum of 2 more appointments to at least hit the assignment. Is that cool for you?
Okay. Yeah.
So let's look over the appointments that you have, and then we'll have you phone like crazy to book the rest of the openings and surpass the assignment. So first off, do you have anything going on this weekend other than Cutco stuff? And then I'm into the next part.
My friend's birthday is this weekend. I'm going to go to that.
Cool. So I'll pause there, but does that make sense how that flows?
Yeah.
Cool. That's also, again, just it's not scripted because it is going to vary on the rep, but I'm using what they told me to fill in the blanks.
Okay.
Beautiful. Let me have you keep going from there, Kayla. And Landon, you've got 4 appointments. Figure it out as you go.
Okay.
Yeah, figure it out as you go. But Kayla, you're going to ask him about each of his 4 appointments and then respond based on his answers.
Okay. Is that on here as well, or I'm just?
So now it's under the part where it says all reps.
Okay. Hey Landon, great job for. You didn't hit this on
Just start in a second. Huh?
it. I just want to go through your schedule and appointments with you. First off, do you have anything going on this weekend, or
Other,
other than Cutco stuff? Sorry.
other than football practice, nope. Free.
Sorry, can you say that again?
I have football practice, but other than that, I'm free.
Okay. Let's take a look at your appointments. Are any of these not 3M?
For me, she would do the checks, right? Since I'm probably not a high rep since I didn't do this on it.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hey, Kayla, can you hear me?
Mhm.
So the only thing that I would say for that is just for me, since I also didn't complete the assignment, so I didn't make the best impression. So do the checks. So ask me, say, can you please put a check next to all the people that are married, and then do that through all 3Ms.
Okay.
That way it gets me telling them the truth.
I do love that mindset of, hey, if they didn't hit the assignment, they are automatically not a top rep.
Yeah.
Okay. I want you to put checks next to everyone who is married, a check next to everyone who is over 30, and a check next to everyone who owns a home. Also, put a star next to your 5. So.
Do here. And then after you guys are done, give Nick a scenario and have him do one. I'm going to go listen to you guys for a bit.
Okay. Cool. Sorry, Kayla. Keep going.
So tell me why you chose this first person.
These are the stars, right?
Sorry, say that one more time.
These are the stars, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Okay. Well, the first person, he's really rich. He's a billionaire. So I want to see him.
What do you think they will like?
Man, I don't know. He loves me, so he's definitely gonna get a large set, you know.
Why didn't you choose this person this weekend?
Because he has a lot of money, and I'll probably be the same. Have confidence.
Awesome. What do you think this person will get? Something small, medium, or big?
Something big, definitely.
Big. Okay. Awesome. Just so you know that when that happens, you're going to make blank amount in.
Couple $100, something like that.
Well, what about the second person you have? What do you think?
The second person, well, she cooks a lot and has a bunch of kids, so she definitely would be interested in the knives and appreciate some good knives.
Forgot to ask. Is she married? This is one of your 3Ms, right?
Yeah, she's married.
Okay. And well, do you know if the husband will be attending?
He will not be there.
He will not. Okay. Well, I would recommend Well, no. Go ahead and cancel that appointment and see if you can reschedule to have her and her husband there.
But she's gonna buy a lot. I
Can I
don't
say it
want
one more time?
She's gonna buy a lot though. I don't want to reschedule.
What do I say in that event?
Pause. So your first mistake was you said I recommend.
Yeah, I caught myself there.
You have to say I need you to cancel this, and then when he's like, "But they'll buy," be like, "That okay? That's good." But these first appointments are for confidence, not practice. And I need you to book appointments with the target demographic to have the highest possibility of you building your confidence up with a good sale.
What, Kayla, what I would say in that situation is just kind of like, hey, we're gonna let you see that person eventually, but for right now, you know, we want you to hit our target demographic with the 3 M's because it will be a more likely chance that you'll sell, and it will boost your confidence to help you out more in the long run. So that's why.
That is a word for what I said.
All right. Well, I wasn't listening to you, so.
Okay.
You're like you're being recorded. I appreciate it.
And about our third person.
The third person. Yeah. So, yeah, I'm confident they're gonna buy something. It's my cousin, and he wants some good knives. So.
Okay, well, I'm gonna need you to go ahead. Oh, he said he wants good knives. I'm gonna need you to go ahead and cancel that appointment, possibly reschedule for another date, and see if you can find and reschedule and schedule someone that qualifies for our 3M in that time slot.
But they're engaged, so they're gonna be married. They're just not married yet.
Do engagements count? I feel like that counts.
Unless it's like really close, like your mom or your grandma, but for the most part, no.
I would, yeah, because I would say, because then they could use the objection, I have to pay for my wedding.
Mm-hmm.
So buy knives.
Well, okay, we're not thinking about that, but not here. Like that was actually an example I gave to John Tevis my first weekend, and he made me cancel that appointment. I was like, dude, they're engaged, like they're gonna be married, and they want to buy stuff, and he made me cancel it anyway. So, so yeah, you would still have to cancel that one.
Your fourth person. Do you think they will they will get anything?
I'm not sure. No, I don't think they will buy anything, to be honest. I'm just a lot more comfortable with them. So it'll be an easy appointment.
Okay. Well, I'm gonna need you to cancel that appointment and schedule someone that qualifies under our demographics.
Okay. Cool. I will.
Now you still have 2 more openings. Who do you think would definitely buy that you haven't gotten a hold of yet?
I'm not sure. I don't have anybody else. Call it everyone.
Okay. Well, how about we sit down and we make a list, highlight some more people and make some more calls. You're 2 appointments away from meeting your assignment, which is 6 appointments. When are your next two phone times going to be, in case you don't get a hold of these people?
Well, you're gonna make me do a phone time right now, right? Is that after that? Is what you're talking about?
Actually, yeah.
Okay. Well, I guess I'm free after the training's over.
Okay. Well, definitely get some phone jamming in there. Book up the rest of your appointments. You only have 2 more. Yeah.
Yeah. So, yeah, I think you handled that good. If someone gives me like an objection, like, oh, I don't have any more people to call, I called everyone, then what you did was right. I would just like do a quick brainstorming thing with them. If I have a couple minutes to do that, I would just do a quick brainstorming, like, okay, so Landon, you played football, all your college teammates, all your high school teammates, all of them. So just do something like that, just to get them and have them write them all down, so then they can have people to call. So I'll just do a quick brainstorming workshop with someone who doesn't have names and numbers. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Okay, and then Nick, it's your turn.
All right. Give me a scenario and who am I running with?
I gotta actually. Hey, Kayla, can you do this one more time?
Mhm. Hi, Nick.
Hey.
So the scenario is Kayla didn't hit her assignment, and she got 5 appointments booked and not 6. And yeah, so begin.
All right, cool. Hey, Kayla, according to the sign-in sheet, you only have 5 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yes.
Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was?
Yes, I do.
And do you remember John saying if you think you'll have any trouble hitting the assignment, make sure you see me before you go?
Yeah, I do.
Okay. So what happened?
I actually had a family dinner that night. I kind of forgot about, so I
Okay.
kind of took up my night.
Now, I understand that things come up, family dinners happen, but in the future, here's what I expect. I understand the whole forgetting about things, but remember that the assignments are for your benefit. So if it would be beneficial, if you are prone to forget things, just to, write it down somewhere, jot it in your notebook or something, and just make sure you'll have it somewhere where you can see it. So once you're done, something like a family dinner or an event, that you'll be able to see that, oh, I have to go make phone calls, or just make phone calls before dinner and just make sure to get the assignment done because you're only one away,
Mhm.
And I just really want to see you do well here. So what I want you to do is once we're finished up here, I want you to phone like crazy. You're only one away, so you don't have to phone that hard, but just phone like crazy until you book that 6th appointment, and then we'll be all squared away, okay?
Okay.
Cool. So first off, do you have anything going on this weekend other than Cutco stuff?
My sister's baby shower.
Okay. Will there be a family dinner there?
Now it's gonna be like a brunch.
Oh, gotcha. Okay. Could you do me a favor and just mark that off in your schedule? Is there anything else besides your sister's baby shower?
I think I'm going to the movies with a couple friends.
Okay. Yeah. Just make sure to mark that off in your schedule as well. Okay.
Okay.
Let me know when you're done.
Okay.
Cool. Now let's take a look at your appointments. Could you do me a favor? Could you put a check mark next to anyone who is over 30, please?
Mhm.
Out of the 5.
Okay.
Okay. Next, I want you to put a check mark next to someone who is married.
Okay.
And lastly, put a check mark next to someone who is a homeowner.
Okay.
And lastly, I know I said lastly there, but lastly, I want you to put a star next to your best 5. I know there's only 5, but put a star next to all of them if they're people who you would bet money that they would definitely buy something this weekend.
Bye.
All right, fantastic. So let me see what you got here. It seems to me all 5 are over 30, married, and a homeowner. That's good. I see you only have 4 stars. Are you not confident in the 5th one?
No, not really.
Okay, why not?
They didn't seem too interested, but I wanted to just help out and support.
Okay, we'll get to that. But before that, can you tell me about your first day? So tell me about Mr. Earl Kelly here.
He's married. He has a wife and 2 kids. They're actually my neighbors.
Oh, great. And I see you have Kate Vassy next.
She's married and has a kid as well. She just started a new job.
Oh, great. They sound like cool people. Kayla Durham.
She's married. She doesn't have any kids, but I think she's in school.
Okay.
School.
Do you think that you know any more married people that you could call?
Um,
you could cancel the one that you're not confident in and then replace it with one that you are confident in and then get the sixth one as well.
I think I know a couple.
Okay, cool. So to finish up, just to square things away, cancel the appointment with the person you're not confident in. If you can see them later, that's fine. But this first weekend is for confidence appointments, not practice appointments, okay?
Mhm.
And to get the best success, you need to see the target demographic statistically. So over 30, married, a middle or a homeowner, just to review it. So what I need you to do, I need you to cancel that appointment with the person you're not confident in and book 2 more with people like a Earl Kelly, like a Kate Vassy, like a Kayla Durham. And then we should be all squared away, okay?
Okay.
All right, fantastic. And then you go do that. Cool.
Yay.
I guess now we switch.
Yeah, sure.
All right, cool. I guess just yeah, I'll have like 4 appointments. Go ahead.
Okay. Checking the time. Hey Nick, according to this schedule, you only have 4 appointments scheduled. Is that correct?
Yeah,
Okay. Do you remember what the assignment was?
yeah, I think so. Yeah, it was at like
And
5, right?
yeah.
Eh,
6.
it was 6.
Okay. Okay. And do you remember Mr. Godwin saying, if you think you have any trouble hitting this assignment, make sure you see me before you go?
Yeah, but like I had stuff right after.
So what happened?
It was the game, like the football game, and it was my favorite team. I couldn't miss it, you know. Like I can make calls later, but like it was the game, you know. I can't miss that.
Okay. Well, I understand things come up, but in the future, here's what I expect. Assignments to reach six appointments, and you have 5. So I'm pretty sure you can knock out a couple phone calls and book 1 more.
I have 4.
I want you to realize that this is for your benefit and to design to help you make money. And I really want to see you do well here. So here's what I want you to do. Let's look over the appointments that you have, and then after that, I want you to phone like crazy to book the rest of your openings and surpass that assignment. Now you only need 1 more, so it can't be that hard to go ahead and book that 1 more.
All right. For the record, I had 4, but not 5, but we'll roll with it.
Okay.
Whenever you're ready.
Sorry. Now you still have the 1 more opening. So who do you think will definitely buy that you haven't gotten a hold of yet?
That I haven't gotten a hold of.
Mhm.
Oprah Winfrey might buy. She's pretty cool. Ellen DeGeneres.
Wow, nice choices.
Yeah. Brad Pitt. Yeah, I think so far those are just the first 3 that come to mind.
Okay. So when are your next 2 phone times going to be, in case you don't get a hold of these people?
Well, the game isn't for another week, so I guess right after training, I guess. Well, no, I have an appointment then, so tomorrow morning, definitely.
Okay. Tomorrow, just for side note, is tomorrow weekday or weekend? What's the weekend?
Yeah, because this is Friday, so tomorrow's Saturday.
Oh, no, it's not.
Yeah, like Saturday.
Okay. That's it.
What?
And that's it, pretty much.
Well, you have to go over the appointments. Because you said, let's look over your appointments that you have, and then you didn't look over the appointments I had.
I'm sorry, my pages are like You know, wonky. Okay. I want you to put a check next to everyone who is married.
Okay.
Check next to everyone who is over 30.
Okay.
And check next to people who own a home. And then lastly,
What if they don't? Like they're about to buy a house.
mm, don't put a check next to them.
Okay.
Put a star next to your best 5 people. The one you think would best will probably get something.
Okay.
Okay. So tell me why you chose this first person.
Tell you about who?
Tell me why you chose your first person.
Oh, well, Stephen Colbert. I mean, he's a very charismatic person. He also he likes to cook, but very like specialty things. He's very weird and particular about it. But like, I mean, like, he could probably like this product. So like, I picked him. His wife's pretty cool too. So yeah.
And do they have the home?
Yeah, they have a big house.
Okay. And what about your second person?
Oh, that is Anna Kendrick. She's cool actually. Her and Rachel Ray are actually they're actually a lesbian couple down the street. Rachel Ray has like a cooking show, so that's definitely a big order, right?
Do you think they'll get something small, medium, or big?
Oh, they're gonna get something big. They're gonna get something massive. Probably the biggest thing we offer.
And your third person?
My third person, he's okay. I mean, he said he's willing, but he's like a little weird.
Is he married?
He's divorced actually, just recently.
At the home?
He has a mansion.
Okay. I'm still gonna need you to cancel that appointment, and I'll look into scheduling someone else. You can still do that appointment, but for this weekend, it's to build some confidence for you. And your fourth person?
My fourth person. Oh, yeah, they actually have like a dog breeding business. They also own horses. They have like 6 kids. They practically live in a castle. It's pretty crazy. But yeah, that's going to be a fun appointment, actually.
And you think they're gonna get something pretty big?
Oh, yeah. Massive. Massive.
And your last person? And
My
your
last person?
your fifth person, you're your last person.
That's my mom.
Your mom married?
Yeah.
That's home?
Mm-hmm. Townhouse.
Okay. And think she'll get something small, medium, or large?
She didn't get me a Christmas present, so it better be large.
Okay. Awesome. What do you think? Actually, no, that's it. Awesome. Just so you know, when that happens, you're gonna make. Would you have like 5 appointments? You make sell around 1,000 at the very least. Pocket about what? 200.
Well, what I said 2 massives, 2 ants. So like massives would definitely be over 1,500. The ants would be like 1,000. So then that's like 3,000-4,000.
Okay.
That's about over $400 if everything goes according to plan. I would lowball it though and say like 3,000, but like, yeah, if I got a sale on all of them, yeah. But like they don't know prices yet, so I don't really know. But anyways, just continue on.
I definitely skipped around this entire thing. Okay, I'm sorry. We did the bottom part already.
Well, that's how you practice.
We'll just do it again. So now you still have one more opening. Who do you think will definitely buy and that you haven't gotten a hold of yet?
Either Oprah, Georgia O'Keeffe, Ellen DeGeneres, or Brad Pitt.
Okay. And when are your next 2 phone times?
I could do a phone time tomorrow morning.
Okay, great. Great. I think we're about finished here today. Make sure you get your phone jams in. Check in with us. If you have any questions, please call in. Got your manager hotline.
All right. What's the number for the hotline again?
It is manager hotline. I'm not even the right binder. Your manager hotline number is on your mail, but
Let
I
me
can
stop you guys there since we are at time. Questions on this now that you've gotten a chance to practice it a little bit?
Nope.
No. I don't think so.
Well, we are at time, so thank you guys for your effort and energy today. Just a reminder, if you would like to get a one-on-one call with me to talk about anything pertinent to you, just shoot me 2 to 3 times that would work for you. And I'll see what I can do to move some things around in my schedule and make it happen. Aside from that, enjoy your night, max out the Who's the Boss contest, and then I will see you guys same bat time, same bat channel next week.
Okay.
So,